Hello, professionals. My name is Rico and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. Today, we are at Sunday's Donuts here for a very special professional lunch. And I have with me Jeffrey and Kirk. Guys, introduce yourself for the professional lunch audience.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I'm the CEO and co-owner of Sandy's Donuts.
Kirk?
I'm Kirk. I'm a partner and founder of Heat Transfer Warehouse.
All right, today we'll be talking about family business. So, how has it been working in a family business?
Where do you want to go, Jeff? You got so many different scenarios.
Yeah.
Like,
I can go. So, first, my grandpa started Sandy's back in 1983. So I've been around this business my entire life. And it's been a pretty cool experience. And I really didn't know if I was gonna, stick with it or what I was gonna do. And then went in the military and then went to school for business and kind of decided that this is where I wanted to go. And it's been a good experience, but that definitely has tricky moments with the whole family aspect and trying to decide what's right and what they think's right, and it can get a little tricky at times. But.
Wow, we'll cover that better in the conversation. Kirk, what do you think?
yeah, so, I look at it as, Heat Transfer Warehouse, I'm one of the partners. In my current family business, obviously, my ex-wife is my partner. And then my current wife is also working in the business. So I want to make it interesting. We have a definitely interesting dynamic. It worked well, but also there is, like Jeff says, there's times that you're just like shaking your head, okay, this is not working, what's going on? And luckily it makes sense. We've been working through things and make things happen, but it definitely can be difficult. So.
Well, I'm sure there will be opportunities for you to talk a little bit more about that. So what are some of the traits of a healthy family business? What would you guys say?
I think communication is probably one of the biggest, like having healthy communication, and just if you have frustration, a problem, or anything, just talk it out. Because when you don't talk about it, you're gonna build animosity, and you're gonna be frustrated, and that's gonna lead to more issues.
I'll echo on Jess as far as communications obviously is key. And you lose communication, everything breaks down and goes, no matter what, goes bad. I also think of like just sometimes having people for like a moderation or another person you can bounce off of, kind of like, hey, this is what's going on, given a different perspective. A lot of times it'll help you kind of work through those things that you're all of a sudden you hit some road bumps in that road, and they talk you through. They're like, okay, I didn't look at it this way. Makes sense, because sometimes when you have that family dynamics, you get some tunnel vision. And so I think having like a moderator or a mentor is a lot of help for us.
Wonderful. Both of you mentioning communication. Give me an example of good communication or of miscommunication.
I think miscommunication is almost easier. Probably to say you have a issue with one of your family members who's very involved in the business, and you are uncomfortable talking to him about it, or you kind of just don't mention it for a long time. Also, it's more and more it's building up, and eventually it becomes a huge issue, and maybe you explode, or maybe your relationship kind of gets affected from it, and you finally talk to them about it, and they're like, oh, I didn't even realize I was doing that, and it could have been avoided, and it's just miscommunication. Yeah.
Kirk, what do you got?
I think, like I said, I talk to my partner and everything. I talk daily. Okay, like we'd never ignore like each other. We talk daily on it. We'll pull each other aside when we disagree on an issue. So we're like a united front on things. Like we know, like, hey, we have to be united. We have to be on point. We can't all of a sudden be like bickering in a room or a boardroom. It's like we've found ways to make sure that, hey, you don't like what I'm saying, pull me aside, listen, talk through it before we go into like a meeting or something like that. And I think that's really important. Talking daily is critical. I think it's just really like, hey, what's going on? And, this is this. And it could be just one thing. Okay, great. Or, hey, I just did this and this happened. Okay, cool. Because then all of a sudden you get pulled in somebody and say, hey, do you know what's going on? They're like, well, I didn't know. And we both of us don't want to be like not knowing. And that's really good communication, obviously, is just talking daily, and just 5-minute brief helps a lot. So.
Well, this kind of touch on the challenges of having a family business, which we're going to talk about a little later. But so what are some of the advantages of having a family business?
Say the big advantage is flexibility. You know, they kind of understand you, and you can kind of talk to them, be like, hey, this is what's going on, and kind of get some wiggle room, can I get some days off? But then counter to that is family business, like you're all in. Like you can't be like, I don't want to do that. It's like, if you have to do something, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, there's extremes on both ends. So it can be great and also can be extremely difficult.
I think
advantages of having a family business.
I think it's a lot of it's trust. Knowing you know these people a long time and knowing that like they have your back. Knowing that all the time is great. Knowing that when you walk into situations, you know that those are the people that are going to trust you. They got you. They're going to take care of you, and that's probably the biggest thing I think is an advantage is having that trust and obviously you know people and they're going to be there for you. And then to echo him is like, hey, you got problems, you got kids problems or like that. Well, I work with my ex-wife, we're like, hey, we got something with the kid. We jointly, we know, okay, now we have to do this. And it takes what? You take the morning, I'll take the afternoon. Those are the advantages. Like, okay, we'll handle it. We'll get it done. And so those are definitely some advantages where other ways, you'd be like, hey, I got to do this. And people are like, well, why? So it helps definitely being clear as what we can do.
Okay. How are family businesses differ from other business structures? What would you say?
I mean, they can definitely be less structured at times. Kind of like, say, a corporation maybe is going to be very specific rules and regulations, where family business kind of a little more free for all sometimes, at least in the beginning stages. But ideally, build that up so you have a good structure as well. But
yeah, I think I don't know if there's a difference. It shouldn't be. I'll tell you, it shouldn't be. There is the flexibility, they know people and everything else. But I think really the structure should be the same. We're a corporation, and it's like, but it's like S corp or whatever else. So it's definitely different than like a true like C corp. Yeah. But I feel a lot of times the structure you really need to focus on, and we get there. Granted, we weren't there at the beginning. Is getting to that level of, hey, your structure should be the same, because it's important. At the end of the day, that family business, if it keeps on going on, great. But if not, you come to a point where like, hey, we're going to sell, we're going to walk away. It's a lot easier to have an exit strategy when it's a lot clearer. So,
okay. So, how are family business employees and non-family business employees being managed differently? Do they get managed differently?
Yes and no. There might be a little more flexibility sometimes because you trust them and you know that they're telling you the truth. But really, I mean, I gotta tell my siblings that you're an employee, but you're also my brother, my sister. But you're an employee. You're gonna be treated as such. You can't just be lazy and skip a bunch of work. And you are fireable. Anyone's fireable. So it's also a family business employee. It's their family business, so they should be respecting that too. Even if they're not the ones who are in charge, they should be respecting it. So,
okay.
I think it's I hold it to a higher level, and I truly do. And I think that's probably maybe like my son just he went intern this summer. And I'm like, you got to be like this. Like, you have to do this. You have to show up on time. You're going to start from the bottom, but, like, you have to, be the role model. Like, hey, you're getting no favors because Dad is here. Yeah. Okay? I say to my wife and then, my partner, we hold each other to a higher level. I'm like, hey, you got to be better. You should be better. And then, I do that on my wife. I'm like, oh, you need to be better. And I think I hold them, honestly, I do a way higher level than I do my existing team members.
Wow. I like that. And that fits well into my next question. How does family legacy affect your business decision? Because you mentioned your son, if you was to take, how does that family legacy affect your business decision at times?
Well, I'll tell you I don't know if he does want to be in it or not.
Okay.
He's like, hey, it was great, but he's going to marketing and he's going to entrepreneurship over at issue. So, I'm excited about that. And, if he wants the opportunity, I will hopefully be able to afford the opportunity. And obviously, I tell him he's to work from the bottom up. But also, I'm also making sure I'm running my business to a point where like, okay, in 10 years, if I want to exit, I can exit,
Wonderful.
you know. And if it's not with my son or somebody being there, I at least have another plan just in case. Because I also don't want to be like, hey, you need to work on the business. Like, I don't want him to do that. Because if he wants to go off and I don't care, you know, find something else in life, if he's happy, I don't care.
That's good.
You know, and if he's going to be in the business and he's not happy, I don't want him there. So,
Well, again,
I don't think I could have said that better. I mean, my kids are a lot younger. My oldest is 2.5, but
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, everyone's like, oh, he has worked in the business. Just like when I was a kid, my parents didn't say that, but my friends are like, oh, you have to do that. I'm like, I actually didn't want to do it because of that. I'm like, no, I'm doing my own thing. So I went off the military and did some other jobs, and that was like, and I kind of came back and realized that I really loved business and loved the family aspect of it, but I definitely don't think you should be forced into it. And like he said, if they don't enjoy it, they shouldn't be there. It's not good for themselves. It's not good for the company.
all right. We're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the challenges that when you are in a family business setting, you might face. We'll be right back. We are back. We are at Sandy's Donuts today, and we are talking to Jeffrey, the CEO and the founder of Heat Transfer Warehouse. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to talk about some of the challenges that you can face when you are in a family business, when you head of a family business. What are some of the challenges that you might face when you are the CEO of a family business?
Question.
I mean, Kirk, both of you, we don't know who can go first. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
so I would say the biggest thing with family businesses is like keeping business to business and personal to personal. And so, especially because my wife works in it, you know, I have my ex-wife, but like it's all around us, and knowing when like that cuts off. And so, like we went to a football game last night for my son, and like, okay, no, like we don't talk work, but we talk personal. And getting those lines, I think that's the biggest challenge. I mean, when I ride home with my wife, she'll be like, how's your day? Because we don't work in the same area and all that stuff. And so she'll be like, this, and this. And then she'll like, how's yours? I'll say this and this, this. And then at a certain point, we say, okay, it's done. And I think that's the biggest challenge because it's so easy because you're in it all the time, 24/7. You're so in it that's can be the whole topic of conversation. And then you realize, hey, there is a whole other world out there. Maybe we should just be discussing, and also have a point where you got to cut it off. Right. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges I see is like my day starts, you know, 5 in the morning. I'm up, I exercise everything else, but also by the time I run into work, it started with them in the car with my wife. And then I come home, you know, it starts. So it's just finding that gap where we got to make sure we turn it off.
Is it hard to overcome that time?
Always. It always is. We'll find ourselves also, we're talking to 8 o'clock and then we're like, I'm like, oh, man, and you know, and sometimes it's good. Like it can be good, like good conversation and it needs to happen. But there's a point where we're like, okay, I need to decompress. I need to let my mind go because all of a sudden it'll be 10 o'clock at night and my mind will shut off. And then it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you're like, you're in the wire, you know?
Jefferson?
I totally agree. I think that find that work-life balance has been a huge challenge for me.
Okay.
And especially a family business because you care about so much. It's not, I was jealous of some of my friends who, you know, work, you know, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, and it's at 5 o'clock, they clock out and they're completely done for the day. Like some people might bring a little work home, but the average person is 5 o'clock, I'm done, I'll live my life. For me, so even if I get off at 5, it's like my mind's still racing. I'm still thinking about the issues that I had that day, how I can fix them. I'm thinking about a new idea and then taking that home and say, you have to concentrate on your kids and your wife and your personal stuff, or you could lose that. So,
do you work with any family member? Like,
not my wife's not really involved in. My kid's only in social media pictures.
okay.
And these donuts.
All right. So, how do you eliminate favoritism or nepotism in a family business?
You know, I say like I told you, like I'm hard on them. Yeah, I expect so much more out of them, and I'm intentionally, purposely doing it so that people see it, and because it is hard to not think that I'm going to favor, you know, my wife or my son or anybody else working, and so I purposely I don't let them work next to me. You know, I'm like, no, you will start here. this is so-and-so. And then she said, well, I have a problem he's doing this. I'm like, then tell him. And then if you need to, you write him up. I says, he was just like any other team member here. I says, so if he's not hitting the things, you treat him exactly the same. And that's exactly what I want him to have happen, because that's the world. And, and if you're not hitting it, and he's still 18. So I'm like, he's not going to be perfect on things or everything else. And so that's the biggest thing I'm thinking of, is just, I'm super hard, I guess, probably worse than making sure that, like, I don't show that favoritism. I make sure I listen to everybody and listen to everybody's opinions, so I know that they're being heard too. That's all.
Yeah, pretty similar. Like when I hired a family member, or I just hired my nephews just for a short time till school starts, and told my managers, I said, they're a normal employee. Like if they're goofing off or they're not showing up, or like hold them accountable. Like say if my brother or sister, I'm like, if they're not doing their job, they're fireable. Like if you're not comfortable firing them, that's okay. You can come talk to me, but like you need to hold them accountable. You need to tell them. Don't be scared to tell them if they're doing something wrong. Like they're not better than anyone else. And like you said, they should be held to a higher standard because it's their family that's running the business. So they should really have more passion than.
So is there an attitude that you are seeing when you try to hold them to a higher standard that you like, and how do you do it?
Not too much. I mean, there's some excuses, but it's like, I don't need your excuses. Like, this is what I'm seeing, and this needs to be improved. So,
yeah, I don't think so. I think, my son's 18, so I expect a little bit of feedback, or I'm talking back a little bit, but I don't think so. I think I just say, hey, this is, they expect to see you at this level, so you got to be there. You got to be the example.
Okay.
That I don't really notice it. I don't think so.
Yeah. So in a big part of challenges in family business can be conflicts. So how do you both deal with conflicts with family members? You mentioned your ex-wife and your wife, and I want to hear from you first, because I want to hear from Jeff first, because I hear a little bit of yours earlier. So Jeff, how do you deal with conflict in a family business?
Well, there was a lot of conflict recently. There was divorce in the family, not mine, but that really turned everything upside down and made things very conflicting. And being the person who's running the business day to day, I was right in the middle of all of it, and it was a huge challenge. I'm sure I didn't do everything perfect, but I think it was a good opportunity. Not opportunities are the right word, but it was a good experience because I learned a lot from it, like how to deal with it, how to push through it, and keep the company going, because it's challenging.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jeff, Kirk?
I always say, just don't ignore it. Don't ignore the conflict, because it'll just drag on. And also knowing those boundaries of like, hey, this is like, can come home, and it does more than I want to. Knowing that, hey, you got to hit it head on. Sit down, go through the conflict. If you need somebody else, maybe they'll moderate, just because emotions and those things can run higher, I feel, with family. Then you do. And make sure that everybody's happy and they're dressed and they're walking out of there comfortable with it, with the decisions, and that helps a lot. But if you ignore it, it'll just fester, and then it takes hold.
Yeah.
And then you realize we're all around it. So like the kids are around it and all that, and then that just makes it worse.
Yeah.
And so really making sure you have a plan to address conflict immediately, quickly. I always suggest that. Like today we had, some things we got to talk over on things, and, it got a little tense, but we all came out of there, I felt, in a lot better place.
Yeah. So, and Jeff, you mentioned something like that too. Sometimes when you have the little something happen, and then you ignore it for a little bit, and then next thing you know, it grows into something much bigger. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
I just think, like I was saying before, like if there's an issue, you don't deal with it right away. Like, yeah, it's going to keep growing. Whether it's someone's not working their fair share of hours, or they're making you do too much, which has happened sometimes, then you just ignore it. You're going to get really frustrated, and sometimes that person just needs to hear it and say, hey, man, you need to step up and do more, and hopefully they do, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so as you know, this show is about Professional Lunch, is about giving young professional, early career professionals a window into the career that they want to pursue. So we get to the point where we want to ask you for advice that you would give young people, students who wants to become an entrepreneur, who wants to take over a family business. What would you guys talk to that students today, and so that they can not only know the opportunities, but also know the challenges that exist in a setting like that?
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people was like ask a lot of questions, even like going in with a family business. Like if, let's say my son goes through when he graduates, or he says, hey, I'm interested in, working in transfer else, maybe taking and growing it, whatever else. I would make sure that it's very clear what his path and role is. And so from a young entrepreneur looking at, hey, I'm going to go to the family business, treat it like it is an interview, and really interview and say, okay, what are expectations? What am I going to get? Where am I going in my path? Because that can be the biggest conflict. And somebody says, well, I've been doing this for 2 years and now I'm done, nothing's happening. And that is important because like my son would be like, okay, well, I'm going to work in the warehouse and pack packages. No, that's a bad job. Just saying he's going to want to progress. And I want to make sure that I would lay out a path for them. And so if I was a young person coming in and then looking at family business, I definitely want to talk to a lot of people and ask questions. But also, I'd also want to go work for a little bit, even just do internships elsewhere, so you understand what it's like to be treated like an employee. Like what it's like to be, hey, this is how it is. And, you're going to realize like, okay, I didn't like that. So now when I take that and I work in the family business, I'm going to make it better. So
that's a good point. Work for somebody else and then come to the family business so that you have an idea of how people are being treated, how things are elsewhere.
You can send my son over to Jeff here. And he's have to intern over at Sandy's Donuts. So
2-year-old will be over there too next.
So what do you think, Jeff?
I guess I want to second that last part. I think it's really important for your son or daughter, whoever, to go somewhere else first to get some real experience that's outside of the family. You can learn a lot from that and get a little different perspective. Yeah. But also, I think as a young entrepreneur going into family business, you're not, just because you're family, you don't just start up here. You should really start from the bottom and work your way up. For one, you're going to learn a ton along the way, but also your employees and family are going to respect you a lot more. I've done pretty much every single job there is to do with Sandy's, from, sweeping floors, cleaning the bathrooms, delivery driving, making donuts, selling donuts, baking coffee. So much more. And that's, you can understand every department a little bit. It makes your job so much easier. Well, I might not be a master at every area, but I understand it. So
do you mean that makes communication with the other, people who are in charge of this department better?
It makes it better, and you can lead the company better by being able to understand where everyone's coming from, and also knowing, like, maybe know some of this department, like, this is extremely important to where, so someone's saying they need that, maybe you can agree, like, no, I work there, this is an extremely important piece of equipment. Or maybe it's like, it's not worth the money. It's, we worked with that machine for a long time, and it can be good for a few more years, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Wonderful. So my next question is a question that I want to ask as many professionals as possible, is how can college students make the most out of college? So that both of you, take your time and give me some good things in it so that I can tell them, because college is losing its value for some reason. And one thing we can do is to find ways to make students understand that it's a very challenging journey, but it's a good place to be if you choose to go to college, how to make the most out of it. So both of you, what do you think?
I'm a huge proponent of, like I told my son, he says, you have to go to college for at least a year. And I'm a huge proponent of college from a standpoint of like the social experiences. And I'm all about experiences. And so really I told him, I said, you're going to go. Yeah. This is, you're going to live on campus. So you have to have that year. You have to be involved in everything else, because that is like almost the stage of where you meet a lot of people. You have to be around people that, like, hey, I may not like them real well, but I still have to work with them. I still have to get along with them. Just like the roommate you may get. I told my son, says, you just have to get along with them. You don't have to like them. You don't have to go hang with them. You don't have to be friends, but it's just, you still have to figure out how to get along with people. And I think that is what I take from the social experiment as far as first year is so critical. And plus, you also, I think you make friends for life sometimes at college. And that is important. And also, I think it was going through college, go get as many experiences as possible. Don't just go through the motion of, hey, I'm at books, I'm going to do this, I take my class. Then college is this basic college, okay? And it's boring. Go get experiences, get involved in things, and then you're walking out of college with, like, it's basically, you got 4 years to have as many experiences as you can, and with really no consequences. So you can go do things and try things that you never would have probably before. That's probably the last point you're really going to experiment, because then all of a sudden we get back into businesses and we get family and everything else, and those opportunities go away. So.
Wonderful. Jeff, what do you think?
You covered that pretty well. One thing I wish I told myself is pay attention more in accounting class. I'm not a huge numbers guy, so accounting wasn't very fun for me, but running a business, numbers are very important.
Hire an expert, though. That's
honestly,
I'm not an accountant either.
Yeah,
so like
hire a good person.
Hire a good person.
I understand some basics, but yeah, guys hire someone.
Wonderful. Jeff, both of you, any last words you want to tell the professional lunch audience?
I would say, I always say is fail, do it again, don't give up. Just because it may not be in one thing you think it's going to work, try somewhere else and just keep going. Because, I've had failures and everyone I've learned from it. And so it can be 3 months, can be whatever, but I also say is fail fast, move on to the next thing. So that you can go on and have those experiences. But really just don't give up.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah, that's pretty good advice. I would say, like, when you're starting on a new business or you're going the family business or doing anything really, there's going to be days where you hate it. I mean, no matter what job you have, there's going to be a lot of crappy days, especially during certain times and events where maybe there's a lot of things going on. My thought is don't quit on a bad day. Quit on, if you're having a good day and you still hate your job, then okay, this isn't for me. But if every day that I thought about, man, I hate my job, if I would have quit, I would have quit a long time. I would have quit a long time ago. Yeah. But there's a lot more good days than bad days. So, like, push through the tough times because there's gonna be those, regardless, and there should be. And you learn those tough times where you learn so much of your knowledge and so much of your skill from those times. Like, once you get to the other side, you're like, wow, that sucked, but I made it, and now if it happens again, you're gonna be so well prepared that next hurdle is going to be probably somewhat easy.
Wow, wonderful. Good. Gentlemen, it was really nice talking to both of you. I get to learn a lot. Thank you, Kirk, for your knowledge and explaining stuff, talking about the family business. And Jeff, thank you for having us here at Sunday's Donut. And I like the setting. I have like 3 big donuts behind me. Bradley, I hope you take a good shot of that because that's going to be our thumbnail. Yeah. So, thank you, guys. Now, this is the part that I tell you. It's up to you to make today a great day. Have a great day.